Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chris Lee Kennedy, and this is the show we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, Mr. John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. World Cup's over. Time to go back to normal life, everybody.
And we also have joining us AMC's Miri Jetikin.
Hey, everybody.
I was waiting for something else, Miri. You got to give me more than that. We also have joining us AMC's production manager, Dennison.
I can't believe Comic-Con is almost upon us. It's a week away.
You know, every time you even say the word, my stress level goes up like 3 notches.
You see, I posted the Facebook invite.
Yes, I'll talk about that in just a second.
All that stuff.
And we also have joining us the director of the upcoming film, The Death of Superman Lives. What happened, Mr. John Schnepp?
Hello.
Hey, folks, listen, before we get going, as Dennis was mentioning, we do have Comic-Con coming up. And Dennis actually put together a Facebook page outlining the schedule of all the different things that AMC Movie News and our crew is doing down at Comic-Con. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put in the description of this video right near the top, you're going to see a link to that Facebook page where you can see a schedule for our Masters of the Web panel, our Thursday autograph signing, our meet and greet on Friday, our Saturday, all that kind of stuff. It's all going to be in there, so make sure you go and check it out.
Dennis, I wasn't invited. Does that mean I can't go to Comic-Con?
Bam! What?
All right, guys, writer Roberto Orci, who was recently announced as the new director for the upcoming 3rd movie of the Star Trek franchise, has revealed that he is no longer attached to the Amazing Spider-Man series. Orci, who co-wrote The Amazing Spider-Man 2, was previously announced to be part of the ongoing Brain Trust to write and develop Spider-Man 3 and 4, as well as Sinister Six and Venom movies. Orso also said he does not know what Sony's future plans are now regarding the web slinger. John, is Spider-Man franchise now in trouble?
No. Let me really boil down to what this story is. Filmmaker who just got hired on to helm another big major franchise left another one, and therefore is now out of the loop with what's going on with his old one. That is the entirety of this story. There are a lot of sites and blogs and Twitter accounts starting like running headlines. Future of Spider-Man now in question, or in doubt, or a fog of uncertainty. I saw that one. A fog of uncertainty.
That's good.
Floats over the Spider-Man franchise.
Jedi powers, yeah.
And it's like, really? Based on that comment? No, it's Roberto Orci got hired on to be the director for the Star Trek franchise. So he's gone. Now, we also got to keep in mind here that as much as we all like to hum and haw about the failures of Spider-Man 2 and stuff like that, it made over $700 million worldwide. Yeah. Now, also keep in mind, the majority of the critics gave it positive reviews by the narrowest of margins. It got like 53%. The audience reviews was 70%. I'm one of those types of guys that I did like Spider-Man 2. There are some people at the table that didn't. That's all cool. But we can all agree it was a major step backwards from the first Amazing Spider-Man. Absolutely. But it's made $700 million. This franchise is not in trouble. Sony, they might be reevaluating what to do now that Orci's gone and how they're going to handle it. But no, this thing is moving forward. There is no cloud of uncertainty. Anyway, Dennis, you saw the story. What are your impressions of it?
Well, I'm also one of those people who didn't hate Amazing Spider-Man 2. I was disappointed with it. But I think, it is more about him being a director. First of all, it's his first time directing.
Anything.
Yeah. And let alone a huge franchise like Star Trek. And then, secondly, people have to understand that directing takes up a lot more of your time and energy than something like writing or producing. Like, you'll see a bunch of producers' names on various different projects all going at the same time. Like, big producers will have their name on several large movies a year. Same with writers. Directors, you got to take it from the beginning all the way to the end. So it's just a bigger thing. So I think he's just trying to focus on something that is probably something brand new to him, and he doesn't want to fail at it. And then in terms of Spider-Man, no, they're not in trouble. I think they should concentrate, though, more on making a good movie.
Making good movie?
Yeah, making a good movie and focus on the story first versus the franchising. I mean, it's obvious from the second movie, it was like all they thought about was Spider-Man 3, Sinister 6, and Venom. They're just like, how do we use this movie to catapult ourselves into other ones instead of thinking about how do we make this movie good?
To your point about how all-encompassing being a director is, and Schnepp can probably speak to this even better. You know, Chris Pratt was probably on set for about 5 months making Guardians of the Galaxy, long time. James Gunn has been on this for 3 years.
Yeah.
And he just put on his Facebook and his Twitter like 3 days ago, just actually wrapped Guardians. Like his responsibilities of being in the edit bay, doing all that kind of, he said, I literally just finished now, and I'm on a plane to Singapore to go do press. So that's a huge thing. But anyway, Schnepp, as a director, how do you see all this?
Yeah, I mean, I just did a weekend of 72 hours working on my film and came right here. So I empathize with that. I'm one of those people who hated Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I've said it before. I just think it's a horrible movie.
And you're not alone. You're not alone.
It's so for Orci to leave, yeah, it's definitely he's doing Star Trek 3, so it makes a lot of sense. He's gonna have to put all of his concentration on that. But you know, the brain trust, it's called the anti-brain trust. Fire everybody. You know, whatever the brain trust is, obviously didn't work. A really horrible, uneven film that'll go down. It's the Batman and Robin of 2014. That's all I got to say about that. So.
Mary?
Well, I didn't hate it quite as much as you. I didn't hate it either. Spider-Man 2, that is, the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think the only thing to add is when you actually read his comments that he made, they're very innocuous, and it's not like he came out and said, you know, I don't know what their plans are and the future's looking shaky for them. He said, I haven't been involved in, you know, a minimum of 2 months. And how is he really going to know the inner workings of the entire franchise? He's not an executive producer. He's not in development. He's not at the studio working with them day in, day out. So even if he had some sort of inclination just as a hunch, he wouldn't really know. He's not on the inside track when it comes to that stuff. Also, he's you know, you said he's working on Star Trek. He's busy with that. But also, you know, The Amazing Spider-Man 3 was pushed back to 2017, I think now. So they don't really know what is going to come next. Is it going to be a Venom movie? Is it going to be Amazing Spider-Man 3? Is it going to be Sinister 6 and then Amazing Spider-Man 3? So we don't even know any of that yet. So to say that the whole franchise is in jeopardy, I think is a little rash.
And let's remember his now former writing partner, Alex Kurtzman, he's still on.
Yes,
he's still on and he's still connected. So nothing else has changed except Roberto Orci's gone.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
One of the busiest men in Hollywood over the last number of years has been producer, writer, and director Guillermo del Toro. However, with each new project that he announces, fans inevitably ask about Hellboy 3. In a recent AMA session on Reddit, del Toro said the following: well, you know, we don't have that movie on the horizon, but the idea for it was to have Hellboy finally come to terms with the fact that his destiny, his inevitable destiny, is to become the beast of the apocalypse. He has to become the beast of the apocalypse to be able to defend humanity, but at the same time, he becomes a much darker being. It's a very interesting ending to the series, but I don't think it will happen. Creatively, I would love to make it creatively, but it is proven almost impossible to finance. Schnepp, is this statement the final nail in the Hellboy 3 coffin, or do you still think there's hope?
Well, of course there's hope. Sequels get made 20 years later. I'm not worried about, I mean, they're talking about Ghostbusters 3 and how long ago was Ghostbusters 2? Eventually they're going to make Hellboy 3. Guillermo's got a very hot property now with Pacific Rim, the series. They're doing an animated thing. He's got Crimson Peak. He's got like 25 other projects. He's going to scrimp off and do a black and white Frankenstein. Who knows? The guy's busy. So for him to deal with Hellboy, he wants to do it, obviously, but he wants $250 million or something like that to bring on the apocalypse, and why not? So I'll wait 20 years. That's what it's going to take. I hope Ron Perlman can wait 20 years, but it's not going to happen in the next 5 years, I can tell you that.
Mary?
I would say that I don't think it's going to happen, at least not in the immediate future. You might be right that it'll happen down the line, precisely because he's so busy. I think Guillermo del Toro is such a creative guy, and he's got so much energy creatively. I don't think he's going to put his time into something he can't make. I think he's just going to say, okay, back burner this, and I'll work on my 7 billion other projects that I'm working on. So,
Dennis?
I hold out a small glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
I loved Hellboy 2, and I'm looking forward to Hellboy 3 if they ever make it, and I like his description. The only reason I hold out that glimmer of hope is with Pacific Rim, I thought it was done. Opening weekend, I was like, they're never making a sequel to this thing, and then it slowly started to build in terms of international numbers, and then Guillermo del Toro kept talking about, oh, well, I'm going to work on the script, and we kept saying, oh, no, it's never going to happen, it's never going to happen, and then they finally announced it. So I do see Hellboy 3 possibly being made, but yeah, like Schnepp said, way down the line.
It's done. Put a fork in it. This Hellboy is done. The difference between the Pacific Rim example, which is a great example, and the Hellboy example is, we were saying, no, it can't happen because it didn't look like they break $350 million, let alone 400. We'd already said that magic number to even be considered for a sequel was going to be 400 million. But it had legs and it kept going and kept going and kept going, and before you knew it was at 405, 410, and it crossed into profitability. Hellboy 2 made $160 million worldwide, and it's not going to go up. It's not like Pacific Rim that's going to keep crawling. That's it. It's done. The first Hellboy, and it wasn't a big jump over the first Hellboy. The first Hellboy made about 100 to 110, so it wasn't that big of a jump. There is no reason to believe a third Hellboy film would do any better. There's just no reason to believe it, let alone for what Guillermo has said in himself. You're right. He said, $200 to $250 million I need to make the movie. That means you're getting to the neighborhood of needing to make worldwide around $475 to $500 million just to break even. And the last one just made 160. A last one that everybody liked. So, I agree with all the points that you raised. I think slivers of hope are there. No, I don't. Not really. This thing's done. It's done. All right, folks, we come to that point of the show for a buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Chris Lee's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and then Schnepp, Dennis, Miri, and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
The weekend box office numbers are in, and all hail Caesar. The new Dawn of the Planet of the Apes dominated the weekend box office, exceeding the studio's expectations, taking in $73 million at the domestic box office. In second place was Transformers 4, taking in $16 million. In third place is the Melissa McCarthy comedy Tammy, making $12 million. And fourth is 22 Jump Street, making $6.7 million in its fifth week of release. And rounding out the top five is How to Train Your Dragon 2, making $5.8 million also in its fifth week of release. Dennis, buy or sell these results?
I buy it, not only because I love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, it's probably one of my top 3 movies of the year, but because we talked about Transformers 4 earlier in the success of it, and we talked about how it was critic-proof. Like, it didn't really matter how many people hated it or said bad things about it, people were going to see it. Now, this, on the other hand, was actually helped by the critics. They were tracking it for about 60 million, and it made 73, which, by the way, John nailed that on the head.
Yes, you did.
But this was a movie that actually was helped by critics and word of mouth, so I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm going to buy this, too. And one of the other things that I really like, you mentioned Transformers 4, right? You look at Transformers 1, opened huge, but everybody was going to go see it. We all paid money to go see it too, so we were all suckered into it. So it made an awful lot of money, but the big key thing for Transformers 4, and here's how it ties into this, is that nothing really opened the following week, and yet Transformers 4 still took a 63% drop. Now it's dropped another 55%. It's gone from 100 million in just 2 weekends down to 16 million. Whereas a film like Tammy, that not a lot of people liked, only had a 40% drop from its week 1 to its week 2. Planet of the Apes, you're right, it benefited from word of mouth. It benefited from the critics' reviews, as opposed to some other big blockbusters that can open really huge, but then get kind of hammered by word of mouth and hammered by critic reviews, and then you see those opening weekend numbers drop. So it's going to be interesting. Schnepp, how do you see it?
Yeah, I'm disappointed it didn't make 100 million. Whatever, jerks, didn't go see it. No, I'm really happy that it made 73 million, and we saw it. It was a great film, and yeah, one of the best of the year, I think. So that it's number one. I don't think it's going to drop 50 or 60% next weekend. I hope it'll drop like 35% next weekend.
Mary?
Yeah, I'm thrilled it did well. I think it was a great film, so I'm always happy to see films do well that I love. But I also want to point out that 22 Jump Street has now made $250 million worldwide. So
for an R-rated,
yeah,
and most of that, almost all of that money was basically North American money too, because it doesn't really play well overseas.
No, but it's so cool to me because I think it was kind of the comedy of the year. I loved it, and I'm so happy to see it becoming the comedy of the year financially. Yeah. And it's still in there. It's like number 4, number 5. So.
All right, what's next?
Next weekend, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes faces new competition as Sex Tape, Planes, Fire and Rescue, and The Purge: Anarchy hits theaters nationwide. John, buy or sell that Dawn of the Planet of the Apes will be number 1 at the box office again next week?
Well, I do think Sex Tape can make a splash, and I do believe there will be a family audience for Planes, Fire and Rescue, and I do believe there's an audience for The Purge as well. Yeah, I think Planet of the Apes is going to do well. Going back to the last question, I'm not seeing a 60% drop, and I don't think any of these films are really going to attack the demographic that are now really turned on by all the positive word of mouth and critic stuff to go out and see it. I'm seeing Apes only maybe taking like a 45% drop, and I think it's still going to be number 1, so I'm going to absolutely buy it. Schnepp?
I'm going to say Purge is going to be number 1 next weekend. I just think.
Really?
Yeah. It's strange. People I never thought I've been talking to have been like, yeah, I kind of want to see that movie.
They're good-looking trailers.
I'm just saying, the buzz I'm hearing about it from other people is like, wow, I think it's going to be another sleeper hit. It was a sleeper hit when it came out 2 years ago, the first Purge. I think it's going to hit again. I'm just saying it's going to be neck and neck with Apes. So.
Interesting.
Dennis?
Yeah, I buy that Dawn of the Planet of the Apes will be #1 again, but it's not a strong buy because of what he says. Purge, the first one, made $30-something million its opening weekend, and that was like a really, sleeper
unexpected.
hit. Really unexpected.
No, you're
so
right.
this just needs to make a little bit more. Depends on the drop. It really depends on the drop off of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I hope it's less than 50%.
All right, Mary?
I buy it only because, and even if it's by a narrow margin, only because I feel like there's an epic blockbusterness to Dawn of the Planet of the Apes that you don't see in the other films, even if they're all big movies. I just feel like Dawn is one of those big summer tentpole movies that we're not really seeing another one of right now. So I still think it's going to be #1.
All right, what's next?
The full schedule for the 2014 San Diego Comic-Con has been released, and noticeably by their absence are Warner Brothers' Batman vs. Superman and Lucasfilm's Star Wars Episode 7. Neither of the highly anticipated films will reportedly have a presence this year, despite massive fan interest in both. Mary, buy or sell the notion that at least one of the two will make a surprise appearance at Comic-Con?
I'm going to buy that. I think that both films have been in production for, a couple of months at least, and there's definitely enough footage to show at least a 15-second teaser, something. I also think you're dealing with some of the most loyal, informed, involved, diehard fans in the world for these properties, so I think to not give them anything, their heads would explode with rage. I feel like you kind of have to do that for your fans, so maybe I'm just being optimistically hopeful. I hope they do. At least I'd love to see something from Star Wars for sure, but who knows if they'll drop anything.
I'm going to sell the notion that either one of them will be there. I don't think they will. Actually, about 3 months ago, I was doing AMC Jedi Council, and the thing came up. It's like, okay, so they're going to announce the title of the new Star Wars movie at this Comic-Con, and I said I don't even think they're going to announce the title for the new Star Wars until next year's Comic-Con, which will still be like 5 months away from its release, right? They're not going to show either because look, Batman vs. Superman is 2016. I mean, it is forever away, and Star Wars, JJ likes to play things close to the vest. So, and it's still a year and a half away by the time we get to Comic-Con. So, yeah, I don't think either's going to be there. I hope they're. I'd love to be surprised, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Sinead?
I actually think they're going to announce the title of Star Wars
this year.
This year at San Diego Con, and I think they are going to reveal Wonder Woman. Maybe a picture or a banner of all three of them. I just think that's going to be the big reveal.
John's favorite.
Gal Gadot front and center. Love John on her shield. And by the way, I'll be premiering my Death of Superman Lives What Happened trailer at Comic-Con. So what's up?
Dennis?
I buy that one of them is going to be revealed, and I think it's going to be Batman vs. Superman. I think Star Wars doesn't really need it because, it doesn't release till later. I mean, I know Batman vs. Superman doesn't release till later, but it kind of has a semi-image problem right now. People are very worried about, like, is this going to be good or not? And I think they're going to release a teaser trailer, but it's going to be one of those, like the one for Avengers too, where it's just like, remember they had the Iron Man helmet and just like turned into the Ultron helmet? It's going to be like a Batman symbol and a Superman symbol crashing into each other with some voiceover.
With an explosion.
With a Wonder Woman's shield.
With a monster truck. Play-by-play guy going, Superman, Batman, boom!
But we won't see actually any footage from the actual movie.
Well, here's a question. When did they, was it a year and a half or 2 years before when they revealed the title of The Phantom Menace? I mean, the movie came out in '99. When did we find out what the title was?
I can't remember.
I know it was at least 2 years before because the trailer dropped, the first teaser trailer dropped a year before the movie came out.
Yeah, see, that's a good point. I feel like there's so much information they could release that they might just come out with something tiny right now because next Comic-Con will be the time when they're like, here's a brand new trailer. It's 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
It's not even tiny. It's just the subtitle.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like all the fans want to know what is it going to be called besides Episode 7. You know,
the return of Jar Jar Binks.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email your questions in anytime to amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, every day we take a couple of questions from the Mailbag, but I'm going to let you know right now, if you're watching us live, you can tweet in some live questions right now, and we'll save a couple of minutes at the end of the show to take your live Twitter questions. So you can tweet in right now to @AMC Movie News, and you can follow us on Twitter there as well. Chris Lee will pick out a couple for the end of the show, but for right now, it's time for Mailbag. So Chris Lee, what's in there?
Anton Reyes writes, after the Hunger Games series concludes, do you think it could continue with spin-off movies like with what Harry Potter series is doing with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them?
It's an interesting question, actually, because while I don't think there's anywhere, if you've read the books, and I have, once you get to the end of the books, there's not really anywhere else to go. There's not the further adventures of Katniss and Peeta. There's, that's just not there. But there's a lot of history there. Now, I don't particularly like prequels in general. There are some exceptions. In general, I don't. But still, this Panem, there's so much that goes into how did they even get to this place? How did this culture, this society get to this place? There's a lot of backstory there that you could potentially tell. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if there's money to be made, the studio will look for ways to mine it. So I'm going to say there's probably a pretty decent chance. What do you think, Mary?
I agree. I love your idea of a prequel because you're right. I don't think there's much room for anything beyond unless they do something completely outer range, which then wouldn't really feel like a Hunger Games thing.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think money talks. It's a huge money-making franchise, so they're going to definitely try and find a way to make it happen.
So how many precincts are there? I think there were like 12?
13?
Yeah, 13.
The 13th unknown or missing one, right?
Yeah, I mean, they could easily make 13 movies, one on each precinct. Just do like a weird, it's one movie drops every month, freak out at New Year's time, whatever. It's like, children will be going. That's easily $300 billion right there.
I'm with you on the prequel idea. I don't think there's going to be a spin-off because I haven't read the books and I can already tell there's nothing. Whenever it ends, it's going to be like they take down the government. This is not a spoiler because I haven't read the books. It's going to be a brand new day in Pan Am or whatever.
No, it's a bummer ending. Everybody dies. Yeah, that's
so
not
I wasn't going to tell you, but
Royale.
Katniss dies in the next movie.
So I don't think there's going to be that kind of sequel or spin-off type of thing. Where Harry Potter, they have the whole school, the magic, the universe, and all that stuff. I don't see it for Hunger Games, but prequel, yeah, sure.
All right, what's next?
Whew, spoilers over there were getting me nervous. Gabriel Miller writes, hey AMC, your show is the best movie talk show out there for me. I was wondering if any of you had been or heard about the supposedly leaked trailer for the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice movie. I personally think it's very fake, but I've heard some people give reasons as to why it might not be. Any thoughts? Thanks.
Well, yeah, there are people out there who are giving reasons why it's not fake, and those people are stupid. First of all, as soon as brilliantly done, because they make it look like it's on a movie screen and they're handy-camming it, right? But the moment that this fake trailer starts, you see some company credits in there that, wait a minute, these companies have nothing to do with the new Batman versus Super. What is this? And then they took some video game footage and put in some of the stuff from Star Wars about the "You Are Not Alone" speech. It's very creative and very well done, but very, very, very fake. And I'm actually shocked how many, I won't out anybody, but how many friends of mine in this industry were kind of taken in by it and actually thought it was legit. Oh yeah.
Sad.
Oh yeah, but no, that trailer you're talking, and you can find it online very easily, and it's very, like I said, full marks to whoever put it together, very creative, but it is very, very fake. What, have you guys had a chance to look at it?
It's so fake.
It's so fake.
It doesn't look like Ben Affleck at all, or the
Extra
costume.
fake.
Or the cowl.
Weird side angle with a broken kind of bat nose, it's very badly put together. But the funny thing is, whoever put this together, did a leak of this version of the trailer 2 weeks ago. I heard it's just a slow push on Batman, then he turns his face and it's looking at the Zod footage. So they leaked their fake trailer, the information about it. So I appreciate that, the falseness of it, the lying of it.
It's very creative.
I do think it's interesting now that we live in this time where there's so much, we get it on our show, there's so much fan art, people get so involved in the content and they go out and they do all these creative things, and I just think that's really cool that we live in a time where people are so invested in this material that they go out and are like, I'm going to make a trailer too, and it's going to be awesome. I think that's cool.
I've seen 5 Justice League trailers where they're just people are spending a lot of time like cutting out like Iron Man's armor and putting Ryan Reynolds' face on it. So they're like, look, it's a new Green Lantern. It's like combining footage, like compositing and I mean, it's rotoscoping scenes. Like, so congratulations to all you weirdos. I watch your videos.
They do some damn good stuff.
Some really good stuff.
Damn good stuff.
Yeah.
Did you remember that one that came out months ago, though? Somebody put out a fake Batman v Superman trailer, but it was back when they still thought Bryan Cranston might be playing Lex Luthor, and they cut together. Oh my gosh, the editing on that was incredible.
It was good.
Like, it really could have sold you. All right, folks, I said we would save a couple of minutes at the end of the show to take your live questions, and we're going to do just that. You might have time to just squeak one in under the wire. Tweet to us at AMC Movie News. Chris Lee is our gatekeeper. So, Chris Lee, what have you selected?
Tyler Clark wants to know. He says, hey, guys, love the show. My question is, what do you want the Wonder Woman costume to look like? Thanks so much.
You know, to me, it always comes down to the same with all the superhero costumes. I don't care. Just make it look good. As long as it looks good, I really don't care. And as long as I can look at it and say, oh yeah, that's Wonder Woman. You know, a lot of people would complain when new Superman costumes come out. Oh, I don't like the red undies are gone. I don't like the yellow in the belt. Hey, look, as long as I can just look at it and instantly know that's Superman, then it's fine with me. So me, I really don't care. But I know some other people are more particular about it. Any of you guys?
I agree with you. I think it just has to be iconic and look like the character. I think, speaking to the red undies, I feel like maybe it's better if he doesn't have red undies personally, because how are they going to make that look modern and contemporary? But I think as long as she looks also congruous with the others, like if her costume and Batman's costume and Superman's costume all feel like they're from the same world, more or less, I think that's also important. Consistency.
It needs to be more modern. It needs to be less revealing. It's just going to look silly. I mean, you take the Linda Carter costume, Wonder Woman costume, you put that on her, you're going to be like, what the hell is going on here? It doesn't work.
I still love the Linda Carter.
Of course.
Yeah, for that,
I like
but not for this.
Spinning around and whatnot. But yeah, I think she's going to be more of a warrior. She's going to have like a Trojan helmet, like armor, shield. I think
like
she's
her
gonna,
look in Injustice Gods Among Us. Yeah,
very much like that. I think they're going to play the Amazonian aspects up. I think, you know, she'll look badass, and, you know, maybe not a spandexy compliment to Superman and Batman, but definitely you'll see that they'll all fit together. And I think that's cool. I'm sure they're going to bring in Aquaman. We know he's in it now, so they're going to have to bring in all the Atlanteans and introduce some kind of sequence. I swear to God, it's like if you read that supposedly fake script that's floating around online right now, maybe it's not that fake. So,
all right, what's next?
Charles Esther wants to know, do you think that we could see an Avengers 2 trailer at Comic-Con?
If they are, they're not really saying anything about it, but I would be surprised if they didn't show us something. I think that's where I'm at right now. I think I'm expecting to see something, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Have you guys heard anything contrary or to support it?
I'd be surprised if they don't show anything. I mean, they're bringing the cast is going to be there, so they might as well show at least a 90-second something. And they've been shooting for a little while.
Oh, they've got a lot of footage.
They got a lot of footage. Creepy Katniss Airgibbon told me that at least a minute of Avengers will be screened.
Very cool.
Ooh. A minute. I'm okay with that.
All right, let's take a couple more.
Griffin wants to know, he says, hi, Sons of AMC. Regarding the Narnia franchise, I rarely hear any buzz upon releases. Is it forgotten, and why?
As far as I know, it's dead. And part of the reason why it's dead is because the films got progressively worse. And they even did a studio change for the last one, and that didn't help. Actually, even became more of a mess. I'm one of those guys that I really liked the first Chronicles of Narnia film. I had a lot of fun with it, but like I said, to me personally, their quality did this after that point, and the box office returns did as well. So I believe it's a dead franchise. I heard whispers that somebody might be willing to take a chance on it again, but I haven't heard anything come out of that. So I don't know. Have you guys heard anything?
No.
Yeah, I've heard Golan Globus has taken over, and they're going to do like a $500 version of the fourth and the fifth one. They're going to shoot it in Bulgaria. It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
They're going to sweet it.
Yeah, I would see that.
And they don't have the money for CGI Aslan, so what they're going to do is they're going to pirate footage from the new rock movie Hercules of him just wearing the lion hat, and he's going to be the new Aslan. It's going to be brilliant. All right, one more.
Anavesh Soni says, if you guys were superheroes, which universe would you choose? The MCU or DC? Thanks for your answer.
I'm going to say the MCU. Not that I prefer Marvel over DC or vice versa, but if I had to live in one of them, I'd live in the MCU. It always seems to be a little bit sunnier and nicer there, as opposed to everything is morbid and sucks in the DC universe. I would choose to live there.
If I could live like with the Amazons, though, I'd maybe choose DCU just because those chicks are so badass.
True.
So.
I would live there with them too.
Yes, I know you would. I got it.
I'd live in the MCU, but I'd like to visit DC because it's something different. You have Gotham and Metropolis. It's a different, those are brand new cities where the MCU is actually set in New York and all our places that we've already seen. So.
Yeah.
You cannot trick me. I shall live in the amalgam universe, which combines Marvel and DC.
The best of both worlds.
Yes.
All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for us for this episode of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, as I mentioned, look in the description of this video, and you'll find a link to a Facebook page that Dennis set up outlining all the schedule for the AMC Movie News crew at San Diego Comic-Con this year. We're really looking forward to meeting as many of you guys as possible. And don't forget, lots of great movies playing in AMC theaters right now, including Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and of course your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our podcast feed so you can listen to us on the way to work or while you're at the gym or wherever you happen to be. And also, if you haven't done so already, click on the subscribe button and become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my left, Miss Mary Jedikin. Mary, where can people find you online?
You can find me online at Mary the Jedi everywhere, all over.
All over.
Just all over.
And of course over here, Mr. the brand new virgin to Instagram no more, Mr. Dennis Zen. Dennis, where can people find you?
Well, first you can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, but I am new to Instagram, dennis.tzeng.
And of course, the director of the upcoming film, soon to have the trailer dropped at San Diego Comic-Con, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You can find me at Twitter and Instagram, just at John Schnepp, and that's where all the info will be spread.
And if people want to keep up to date on Twitter with what's going on with The Death of Superman Lives, where can they find that on Twitter?
You can find it at TDOSLWH.
Number sign, question mark,
it's just The Death of Superman Lives, what happened? TDSOLWH. I have to think about it but just go there and that'll have all the information for the documentary. Thanks.
And of course, the lovely Crystal Lee Kennedy. Crystal, where can people find you?
You can find me on all social media at Crystal Lee.
And you can find me at the various social media channels just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. We'll be back again tomorrow. So until next time, I'm John Campia for AMC Movie News. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.